G'day, I'm Paul. So I'm an electric car owner in Australia, and electric charging infrastructure, public electric charging infrastructure in Australia absolutely sucks. Well, if you own a Tesla, it's fine, but if you don't, it absolutely sucks. We did a road trip recently from Sydney to Brisbane, and it's about 1,000 kilometres, let's say, and we had so many issues with faulty chargers, and public charging is expensive as well. So what I wanted to find out is, can it be done better? And we're over in the States at the moment, and I thought, let's rent an electric vehicle. Let's see what it's like over here. So we're about 50 miles out of Los Angeles, and what I wanted to do today was take the Rivian that we've rented and drive it from here in the middle of nowhere back into Los Angeles and test out a fast DC charger, a charger in a public parking structure, and then also a street charger, which is the thing they're rolling out in Los Angeles to help people who don't have off-street parking, which is a bit of an issue in Australia as well. Now, this won't be a scientific test by any measure. I know that charging completely varies across the states, but I think LA is probably a good city to test this out, and I'll explain why in a second. Now, if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this video, you can use the time codes that are on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find out whenever we do videos like this, but let's hit the road and do some charging testing. Now, I've drained the battery as much as I can. We will be down to about 50 kilometres of range left when we arrive. Our first stop's going to be a Walmart. What I did was I had a look here at the infotainment system and just picked a fast charger that was near the city, just so we can randomly sort of check one and see how well it works. So Walmart has a network of chargers at some of their stores. This one is one of the faster chargers you can get. So hopefully it will A, be working, and B, give us a good idea of what fast charging at a big sort of supermarket style place like Walmart would be like. Then after this, we're gonna find ourselves a parking lot in the city to see if we can try some public charging there in a parking garage. And finally, we'll do some street charging as well. But we've got some miles to eat, and then we will be at our destination to do some charging. Now, I'm going to point out again, look, California has a massive uptake of electric vehicles. So obviously, the situation here in California may not be the same situation you're going to find across the rest of the states. But I really just want to see how a country like the US, which is quite similar to Australia in a sense, because you have a big country where people drive big distances. Picking something like Norway, for example, which is a small country, lots of government incentives, isn't really what we have in Australia. So I think this will be a good indication of what the government could achieve if they put their mind to it, and we'll find out if it's actually any good today. Okay, so we're about to roll into our first charger here at Walmart. It's an Electrify America charger. Let me just make her quiet. So similar issue here in the States to what we have in Australia, where there's countless different apps for charging. You just got to pick the one that suits you. And then from what I understand, there's some apps that actually cover multiple charging networks as well. So look, if you live here, it probably makes a whole lot more sense than it does to me, but just something to keep in mind, I guess. Yeah, so look, this will be a 350 kilowatt charger. The Rivian here will charge at a little over 200 kilowatts, and it's now down to about 10% state of charge. So that means that we should actually get a decent run here with charging. So we'll see how that all pans out and how busy it is and how they all work as well. Oh, it is busy here at the moment, just car park in general. So let's see what the chargers are like. I can see them in that back corner there. Oh my God, there is heaps of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a really nice setup there. So yeah, I know chargers free. Every single charging space is taken, and hey, at least they're all taken by full electric vehicles. And there's a EQS waiting there, and this guy's about to leave. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, there's two guys leaving. Okay, so I might just try and take one of those chargers and just see how we go. Hopefully I won't be stealing anyone's charger. See what happens. Okay, so this guy appears to be backing in. I know that's a BX4Z, whatever it is. Oh my God, there is like a massive queue of cars here. How many cars are queued?
Well, including that ID4, 4.
Right, okay. Okay, so this is a bit of a disaster because there's now all of these cars waiting, plus they're queuing around the corner as well. So granted it is Saturday, and there's another one that's just rolled in now, another Kona. So granted it is Saturday, but I'm now down to 10% of charge. I'm going to need to find another charging alternative. Wow, okay. So I guess the situation here isn't really much better than Australia. Okay, we are almost at our next attempt here. So this one doesn't have any live information about how many chargers are available, but it is down this street here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we have arrived and there is another queue. So I'm going to join the back of the queue, but it's weird because there's 4 chargers. For some reason, they're not using them. So I can only imagine that they're faulty. Sean's just going over to check now. Hello.
I'll show you what the 2 of them are doing.
Yep.
So that's one of them. It's just sitting on that screen. And then this one is sitting on that screen.
So are they... Right, okay. We're going to go back to our Airbnb. We're going to arrive at our Airbnb. Now, I'm genuinely telling you this, none of this was intentional. I'm down to 10% battery left. We're going to arrive to our Airbnb with 36 kilometers of range. I'm going to plug up just to the wall plug. And then later tonight, we're going to have to go find a charger. Yeah, genuinely none of this was intentional. Our plan was today to go review this, which is what we did. We picked it up this morning with like 80% charge. Our plan was to review it and then basically do this story on the back of it. This is an absolute pain. All right, onwards then. We'll go back to our Airbnb and plug up to the wall at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so we have arrived back at our Airbnb with 7% battery left. Basically, I'm just going to have to plug it up to the wall charger and hope that we can put a little bit of charge back into it. Okay, so we're back. I'm going to plug this up now. I'm going to open the front and get the charging cable out, and then later tonight we're going to have to go out and find a charger because the car has to go back tomorrow at 8:30 full of charge. So, fun times. Hope you're not tired, Sean. So we're currently watching old Top Gear episodes while we wait for the car to charge. Got some coffee, just waiting a few hours until we can go wait some more time at a charger that hopefully works. Okay, so we've waited a few hours. That has added, yes, we've added 6 kilometers of range after 2.5 hours. So we're going to go try find a charger now. Again. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to go to the chargers we were at before. We'll see if they're available. There was a queue last time, so I'm going to go down this aisle and we will see. So previously I was able to use the screen here on the Rivian to tell me whether there were available chargers. That's no longer working. It just says it doesn't know if there's available chargers. Okay, that looks like it's broken as well. Let's see what the situation is over here. Yeah, okay, so there's a queue again. So it's now almost 9 p.m. and we've got a queue for chargers again. I just can't imagine that you would bother with this if this was your day-to-day, if you didn't have charging at home and you had to do this like we're having to. It's super frustrating, but anyway, we're just going to sit here and wait, and yeah, we'll go and charge hopefully some point soon, and yeah, see what happens. Fuck me. So it's around 30-40 minutes later. Battery level has now descended to 4%. I'm first in queue though, which is good. And have a look at this behind me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, and then there's another 3 in the queue, 4 in the queue in the background there. I mean, this is actually lunacy. Oh my God. There is a charger. Okay. If this doesn't work, I'm not going to say what I was thinking I was going to do. If it doesn't work, I'm going to be very upset. Oh my God. Alright, so plug, go in. Okay, and then tap card. So connecting to vehicle. Okay, guest, pay with card. So we're just going to tap. Authorizing, approved, go. Okay, so it is charging. So there's the charge speed, which is heinously slow, and I suspect it's probably not going to get much quicker given that there's a bank of 10 chargers here and they're all currently in use at sort of various charge rates. So I suspect it's throttling everyone to accommodate it all. This was preheated in terms of battery conditioning. It can charge at over 200 kilowatts, and given it's at 4%, which is a very low state of charge, this should be absolutely hauling. But look how long it's going to take just to get to 80%. I mean, that is absolute BS. I'm going to rage if I stay here much longer. Let's go get some food. Okay, so it is now almost 11 p.m. and it's only 50% full. The charge rate's only 42 kilowatts. We're wet, everything is closed around here. So, I mean, have a look at this. There's a team viewer session open. So we're going to stop that. And we're just going to get out of here. Figure this out in the morning. This is unbelievably bad. Anyway. Okay, so it's 11 p.m. and there is still a queue of people trying to charge their cars at that fast charger. Now, I use air quotes because it was anything but fast. When you have that many vehicles on a fast charger, if it's not done properly, it just charges very slowly, and that's exactly what happened to us. We're at 50% charge and the car was there for over an hour. The Walmart we went to closed at 11. All of the food places closed at 11. Ironically, the only thing you can do at the food places that are still open is drive-through. I tried explaining that to the guy, but he didn't find it amusing. So yeah, we've pretty much just given up. So what we're going to do, we'll just go back to the Airbnb, charge it there a little bit, which will be pointless, but in the morning I'm going to have to go at like 6 a.m. and go find a charger somewhere else. I'll tell you what, this has been the shittest experience I've ever had in an electric car. And I genuinely, like 100% serious, we went into this just wanting to show everyone what it would be like to own an EV in a place like this that has so many EVs on the road. And it appears that if you don't have a Tesla, the rest of the public charging infrastructure absolutely sucks. And this is the last place I would ever want to own an EV. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm tired and grumpy. So Sean, he's raging over there in the passenger seat. Good night, everyone. Okay, so it is now just gone 7 a.m. We're going to go find another charger, this time near where the car has to be returned. So yeah, hopefully we can get that sorted. Our plan was to just use the Rivian to go around and show you the other charging styles, like in the parking garage and also the street chargers, but given last night's absolute cluster, we'll just use our other car, which is a RAV4 Prime, to show you that. We're up till like 1 a.m. last night, because by the time we finally got back to our accommodation, we then had to have dinner because we didn't have dinner, and yeah, so we're both very tired, to say the least. And funnily enough, we found these in our rental car. So maybe this is what they use here when they need to charge their cars in winter and they're stuck in a massive queue. But yeah, look, in general, last night was super disappointing. If you have charging at home, it's not really an issue. The only sort of issue is here in the States, it's 120 volt electricity. So in Australia, we have 240 volts. And the simple power equation, power equals volts times amps, you have half the power here, so you're charging at half the speed. The amperage here, when you're on the charger, my understanding is 14 amps instead of 10 amps at home, but the difference is still around a kilowatt between the two. So you are charging much slower here if you do just plug up instead of actually charging on a wall box. So that is still one of the disadvantages. You would have to install a wall box here, which will give you faster charging. And I think most people would do that if they owned an EV. But yeah, if you are relegated to public charging, which it appeared most of the people last night were, because there is no way you'd be lining up for hours at a time to charge your vehicle at a slow speed if you just had charging at home. So perhaps like Australia, a lot of people don't have off-street parking, and it means that they have to rely on public charging infrastructure to get them by, because last night we added 3% of battery range after charging for 8 hours. So you genuinely could not script this. On the way to charging the car this morning, it's currently 8:15. We left an hour and 15 minutes ago. There was like a massive car accident, and we've been sitting stationary, and it's just started moving now, sitting stationary on the freeway and hadn't moved at all. So obviously someone's having a very bad day. Not much you can do about that. So I'm just going to take the car back at 49% and just have to pay whatever they want to charge us. Okay, so the Rivian is back. Can tell you, public charging infrastructure over here absolutely sucks by the look of it. Electrify America is like the American version of Charge Fox. Chargers are slow, faulty, not working, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, glad to be rid of an electric rental car. We've just hit the road in the RAV4 Prime. Goodbye, Rivian. That's gone back after the disaster that was charging that this morning. So now what we're going to do, we're going into a car park here. I wanted to see what it was like if you want to go shopping and stuff like that. Because what issue we have at our office, we're sort of in this shopping centre car park type complex. They have one charger and it only accepts Tesla vehicles. What they also do is they disconnect any vehicles that plug up to any wall sockets and put notes on them and stuff like that. So clearly not very EV friendly. And then in addition to that, if you don't have a Tesla, you can't charge at the single charger they have. If you do have a Tesla, it is full constantly because it's 90 minutes of free parking. It's basically just constantly full of Tesla vehicles wanting to get free charging because it's a free charger as well. So let's zip around here and have a look at what the charging's like. Okay, so here are the chargers. Oh my goodness, have a look at this. They are all empty. That is unreal. So there's a fast charger in the corner there, which we won't bother using with the RAV. So I'm going to pull up here, we'll hook the RAV up and see how it all goes. Okie dokie. Tell you what, this is a pleasant change from last night. There's actually nobody here at the moment. So I know it's early on a Sunday morning, but I'm glad we're finally getting a positive experience. So let's give this a shot. This plugs in over here. There it is. That's a free charger as well. Okay, we're finally getting somewhere in Los Angeles. I'm hungry, let's go get some breakfast. Okay, so we've just left that car park. So finally a positive charging experience, and that car park actually had a stack of chargers. They were available. When we got back, they were a little bit busier, but you know, it's to 11 a.m. on a Sunday off Hollywood Boulevard. So it is actually pretty impressive how many are available there. So I don't know whether it's people just obsessed with super fast chargers, but ultimately, based on our charging session last night, it was like an average speed of 60 kilowatts over the hour and 10 minutes that we were there. You'd probably be better off just coming to an underground car park like this and just charging down there. So now what we're going to do is we've topped up our Prime. It's got a little over half battery charge in there. We're going to go find one of these street chargers because I'm really keen to see what their availability is like, because that network is growing here in Los Angeles, and that's the one that makes a whole lot of sense if you don't want to be queued up for hours at a fast charger and you have the time to just plug up when you're near your home. So let's go track down one of those and we'll see what it's like to use and how the whole system works. Okay, so we've arrived at the first charger here and there's a car in there, even though the app says that it's available. So either that car has finished charging and he's just not unplugged it, or it's not actually plugged in properly at all. I don't know what the story is, but this says it's available and there's a car there. So that's not really gone well. Okay, so just found our next one and there's a van there. So that's obviously not good. So we're gonna go to a third one now and see if it's any different. So we've arrived at another one now. The post is broken on it and it's showing up as working, but there's an EV park there and it's clearly not charging. So yeah, that's 3 so far. Let's try another one and see how we go. But yeah, great initiative, just seems to be very poorly executed. Ooh, we got a charger and it is empty. That is, how many chargers now we've been to? This is the 4th one. So, and the only one we've found that is actually available. So we're going to plug up to it now and just see if it's working, and we will see what happens. Okay, so we need to unlock it. So I'm going to open the Flow app on Franklin. So tap start from the app and follow the instructions. Initiating charge session. So there's the charger. I'm going to plug her up. Okay, so there you go. It is actually working. We finally found a station that is running. So we can tick that one off the bucket list. Let's hop back in the car. We'll go back to our accommodation and let's just do a recap of everything that's happened over the past 24 hours. So we are back at the Airbnb, and I thought I'd recap before we finish up this video. We genuinely just wanted to record a video after we shot the Rivian R1S review, and there's a link to that review in the description below. We're just going to literally drive back from our shoot location out in the middle of nowhere into Los Angeles, test out some chargers and just see how it goes. Unfortunately, it just turned into this saga. We were up until like 1 a.m. last night because by the time we finally got back here to our accommodation, we hadn't eaten anything pretty much all day. So we ordered some food. Food finally arrived at 1 a.m. We hit the hay. Then when we went out again, it was like 6 o'clock when we got up. So we are officially exhausted at the moment. So EV fast charging, it appears it's the same story here in the States as it is in Australia, where during busy periods, it's massively congested. You've got queues, you've got chargers that aren't working, and a network that just doesn't seem to show you correct availability. And when you think about it, it is going to be that way. Unless you own a Tesla, that is the only caveat to all of this. Tesla's supercharger network is great. It's always accessible. It's typically always available as well, except during peak periods. But Tesla has a vested interest in making sure that their charging network works. They sell you a car, they sell you access to the charging network, and you need to be able to turn up there and charge your vehicle. So they need to make sure it works. Whereas other brands, I mean, they really don't care and they don't have a vested interest. And they rely on third-party private enterprise to roll these chargers out. And they also don't care whether they work or not, because typically with those companies, they'll get a whole bunch of taxpayer funding, government money to roll chargers out, and then they don't seem to have any service level agreements to make sure these chargers are working. In fact, Electrify America, it was a company that was started on the back of Volkswagen and Dieselgate. They were ordered to start Electrify America as a penalty. So it seems that they've completely lost interest in making sure it works, because at the moment it just seems to be as bad as what we have in Australia with companies like ChargeFox that just don't maintain any of their network. And the irony as well is that Electrify America charge that we did, it didn't end up charging us because there was some fault with the charger. Like during the bit that we were filming right at the end there was literally a TeamViewer session running. Someone was logged into that. Anyway, I just don't understand any of it and why it is so highly unreliable. Then it flows onto those street chargers as well without actual controls around parking. You did have it in one area, but you could see old mate with the Tesla, who didn't have the cable actually plugged in, was trying to take advantage of parking restrictions there. So I think they need better controls around that and better management. That other charger was completely faulty. Of the 4 chargers we went to, 3 of them weren't working. So that's 3/4 of the chargers weren't available for people to use, even though they said they were available in the app. And to put some of these numbers into context here in California, they have 28 million registered cars in California. 1.1 million of those are ZEVs, 1.3 million are hybrids. And a ZEV is a full electric or a plug-in hybrid or a hydrogen car. Given hydrogen sales are fairly limited, I think most of that 1.1 million is going to be either full EV or plug-in hybrid. LA County itself has 282,000 ZEVs on the road out of 6.3 million registered vehicles, and there's just under 500 of those flow street EV chargers on the streets around Los Angeles County. So what I can tell here and what I've deduced is that it's not exactly a walk in the park in the States if you don't have off-street parking. If you don't have off-street parking to charge your car at home and you have to rely on public charging infrastructure, it looks like an absolute nightmare, because not only are the chargers congested, when you do finally get to one, they slow right down because they can't service all of the vehicles at maximum speed. You've got to remember that last time when we were charging, we averaged 60 kilowatts over the hour of charging, and it only got to 50%. So you would have to be sitting there for quite some time for it to actually get anywhere. So yeah, like I said, this wasn't an intentional video to sort of shit can EVs. I have an EV, I like EVs, there's no sort of issues with that. But what I have an issue with is that car companies don't seem to really care about your experience as a customer. If you are buying one of these vehicles that isn't a Tesla, you seem to just be running into a lot of these problems. And the other fascinating thing as well is that Tesla is actually allowing other manufacturers to use its charging standards. So the chargers you find on Teslas here in the States will be adopted by other car brands. That's going to mean other car brands are now going to start charging at Tesla chargers. And I suspect the issue is just going to become worse until someone actually takes hold of this and fixes the problem. So yeah, let me know in the comments section below, what is it like for you living here in the States? I know that we only looked at Los Angeles County really, but I'm keen to understand for anyone that lives here, what is it like outside of this area? Is it just as bad everywhere else, or is it just unique to this area? In Australia, I know based on my own experiences doing road trips, charging infrastructure, public charging infrastructure that isn't Tesla is terrible. And during peak periods, there are queues and other congestion as well that makes the simple journey of going on a road trip difficult, expensive, and anxious. You know, you're always just anxious about what's going to happen. All right, well, I think we're going to go to sleep. We were up to like 1 a.m. last night, and I'm very tired and need to catch up on some sleep now that the Rivian's back and I don't need to have a think about that anymore. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon as well. But until next time, take it easy.